Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and hi Poonam, you're here already. Hello, my lovely soul fam. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to join me for our usual weekly live ahead astrological stream. And what's going on this week? Well, actually, thankfully, most of the week is pretty cool, pretty calm. No major aspects, but it all kicks off on Friday, the 4th of July. But I'll come to that in a minute. Hello, Wishing Pool Tarot. Good to see you here. So let's have a look, because today, the 29th of June, we're in the energy of Mercury, our planet of communication, in opposition to retrograde Pluto, our planet of transformation, in Aquarius. Hi, Emma. Hello. Good to see you here. Andy, hello, my darling. You're watching Torrens Ball hockey, so you have to catch up. That's okay. I hope he plays well, and I hope you're feeling okay, my love. So let's see what we've got going on, because today I have just done an astrobite, which has just gone up on my channel about half an hour ago, and it's about this opposition from Mercury to Pluto. But basically, Mercury in Leo makes it much more dynamic and powerful. And it means that when we're speaking, we really want to be heard. So what you have to kind of be mindful of is that if you've got anything to say, make sure you've got your facts straight, because that's the danger, that Mercury in Leo thinks, oh, it's got it all sorted, just knows everything. And actually, it hasn't. Let me see what you're saying. Who have we got? Hi, Parry. Good to see you. Brandy Lee. Oh, from South Korea. Welcome. Good to see you here. And Janice, nice to see you from lovely Ireland. And Margaret Louise, good morning and good morning. So as you go through the day and tomorrow, be mindful of how you come across to others if you have something important to talk about, because the energy, because it's an opposition, can be quite strident. So we can get caught into thinking, yeah, but I'm right. I am right. I know I'm right. Rather than actually, let's look at this and see if there are some other ways to look at this particular piece of information that's being discussed. So remember, be mindful when you're listening to social media, news channels. Make sure that you are listening to what's being said, or rather what's not being said. Do you know, when I was doing the astrobite for the Mercury opposite Pluto, I thought, and I said actually, isn't it interesting how at the weekend, on the whole, everything goes quiet and we don't hear much on the news about anything. It's as if, oh, the world says, it's the weekend. I think we'll just lay down all our arms and we'll not fight anyone, and we'll just have a party and a barbecue and goodness knows what else. And then Monday it all kicks off again. You know, sometimes it kind of lends support or meaning to the fact that we're living in some kind of alternative reality show, that at the weekends is perhaps when they have the commercial breaks, because weekends it's just like, oh yes, okay, not much is happening. But it's okay, BJ Joss. It's not so quiet in Ukraine. Well, it's good to hear from you. And oh dear. So it is still kicking off everywhere. It's just that the news goes quiet, or at least it seems to. Hello, Canada. Hello, Red Pillar. Good to see you here. AMAC, welcome. And Shirley in Texas, good to see you. Yes, Poonam, sometimes it does feel quite surreal, doesn't it? It really, hello, Susanna Secret. Oh, we've got all the old friends back. It's lovely. Nice to see you all here. Simi, you're here as well. And Bosnia, I hope it's all quiet in Bosnia. You're not that far from me down here in Gozo, Malta. So how is everybody? Did I see someone else I recognized there? I think I saw another name I recognized. Oh, Craftomatic. Yes, hello. So when corresponding, ask questions, don't assume anything, and surround the challenges in the letter with a light bit of whipped cream with a cherry when possible. I like that. That's a great analogy for Mercury opposite Pluto. I like that. It's a dress. Thank you, Poonam. Thank you very much. Oh, Jim, it's good to see you here. I fancied a little bit of warm, kind of sunny colours today. And colours do affect our mood, don't they? So how long will this energy last of Mercury opposite Pluto? Well, I would say really we're looking at probably until the end of Tuesday. So it's going to be around today, it's going to be around tomorrow. I do think the potential for one or several of our world leaders to stand up and say something that they think is important may happen. And it will be quite powerful, dramatic, fixed, and potentially not the truth. Because remember, Pluto rules Scorpio. Scorpio is very secret, keeps things hidden. And it would not surprise me if secrets get revealed over the next few days with this energy of Pluto transforming, still trying to tear down the old ways of doing things, the old kind of agenda, sort of deconstruct the old agenda. And it's interesting because actually I'm really looking forward to doing the live for the month ahead of July, which I'm going to do Tuesday night, because that's going to be a good one. That is going to, there's a lot going on in July. So here's a spoiler alert. A lot is going on in July. Just when we thought it was safe to come out, well, July the 4th, all happens. And potentially, of course, we've got Uranus moving into Gemini next week. That's going to be very interesting. I will do a separate video for that with the accompanying zodiac signs, so you know what part of your life or chart is being affected by Uranus's move into the sign of Gemini. So I'm not going to say a lot about the Mercury opposite Pluto because it is pretty much self-explanatory. What we might experience on a personal level is people not giving way, power struggles, people being perhaps a little bit overdramatic, overstating their point of view, determined to be heard, determined to be right. Also guard your thinking, your thought processes, that they don't get too bogged down in drama. Because remember, Leo is quite a dramatic sign. So we might find that the way we talk over the next few weeks with Mercury and Leo is quite theatrical. Maybe that's why I've got the orange on today, because I'm living out my Leo ascendant of dramatic presentation. Let's have a look. What are you saying? Parry, we'll have to remember that we are basic miracles and we're all worthy of love and kindness. Well said, Parry. I like that. That is true. So remember, what about Pluto in Aquarius? Because that's going to come more to center stage now, because we're going to have some planets aspecting it. The Sun, when it moves into Leo later in July, is of course also going to be opposite Pluto. So we have got this, and Venus is creeping round. Venus is coming up to a conjunction with Uranus. which is actually not happening this week. Oh no, hang on a minute. It's happening. I think that's one of the things that's happening on Friday, the 4th. Let me have a look at my notes, my copious notes. Yes, actually, let's talk about Friday, because basically all of this week is fairly calm astrologically. We've got to have some calm days and calm astrology, because we can't have all of this dramatic dynamic energy all of the time. And at the end of the week, on the 4th, which I know is the public holiday, Independence Day in America, Venus will be conjunct Uranus in Taurus. Now, what is super interesting about this dynamic is that they're both at the anaretic degree of Taurus, which means they're both at 29 degrees, but they're also at 52 minutes. So they are super powerful. So this really underscores the energy of the Uranus-Venus conjunction. This can impact friendships and relationships. It can, because it's Taurus, this could see the financial markets or the stock markets being a little bit interesting at the end of the week. Maybe I'm seeing this week unfolding quite just regularly, quite, just jogging along. Hello, Mary Francis from Cleveland. Good to see you here. You're in red too, B. Joss. That's good. And orange is the sacral chakra, personal power. Maybe that's what I'm into today, the personal power. Because the color came into my mind this morning. I thought, that dress, that orange dress, I'm wearing that. July the 1st is Canada Day. Happy Canada Day to all of the Canadians watching today. And that will be when we do the live stream for the month ahead. So just coming back to Friday, the 4th of July, this is an important day because not only does Venus conjunct Uranus, I think we're going to see, as I say, information coming to light around the financial world, about money markets. It's difficult to say because it's Uranus if it's going to be sort of bullish at the end of the week or bearish. It really is that unpredictable energy of Uranus. I think because it's Venus, and I see Venus representing that which is of value, I would see the markets potentially doing quite well this week, perhaps because things have seemed to have calmed down in a certain relative sense on the world stage. Clearly, things are still going on in a big way in our problem areas of Ukraine and the Middle East, in Gaza, namely. And what can I say? I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole because it's too much. Let's see. So, B. Joss, you're saying you dreamt of an oversized hummingbird landing on your finger, then on your shoulder, then another landed on your other shoulder, and you were asking someone to take a picture. How beautiful is that? I don't know what hummingbirds symbolize. Perhaps somebody look it up on ChatGPT, or look it up on Google just to see what the symbolism is of a hummingbird. But I always think they're rather fascinating birds. Yes, July the 4th is Friday. That's right. It's on Friday. And not only do we have Venus and Uranus conjunct, so it could be surprising developments in relationships. We may see that in political relationships potentially. But also Neptune, who's been visiting Aries for the first time in a very long time, is going to station retrograde. So Neptune is stationing retrograde on Friday and will start its return to Pisces. And when I do my video for the 4th, the Astrobite, for then when I will look at Venus conjunct Uranus, Neptune retrograde in Aries, I will give you the dates for that, because Saturn is also going to go retrograde a little bit further into July. So that is also happening. So we're getting this general slowdown that we often get at this time of the year. Hummingbird, work, speed, busy. Well, maybe this is a week to get on and be busy for you, and super busy with 2 hummingbirds, and get a lot of things done. Perhaps it's going to energize you. Perhaps the hummingbird is your spirit animal. Craftomatic, symbolize joy, love, healing, and resilience. Lovely. That's beautiful. Parry, everything is an experiment in our lives. The process of creating a new healthy relationship between us all is coming together with kindness and compassion. It depends on our mindful steps and choices. You bring up a very relevant point, Parry. I think it's important to remember we always have choice. Now, this is where astrology can be so useful, because if we understand the astrology of our own chart, and if we understand the energies that are unfolding, for example, this coming week, it gives us choice. Because if there are energies that are saying, this is a really good week to look at doing something innovative, creative, to do with relationships, to surprise your loved one with an unexpected outing or weekend away, for example, well, then one is working beautifully with the energy of Venus conjunct Uranus. And I think it's about recognizing the choices that the astrology gives us, because there's a danger with astrology that we feel that we are, thank you, Craftomatic, I can't speak. You found it on Google. Thank you. Brilliant, brilliant. If there's anything else to tell us, let us know. But astrology doesn't, it doesn't make it absolutely written in blood or, carved in stone, this is what's going to happen. It gives us options and choices, but it also shows us that sometimes if we don't take action or make a choice, it can take us down a cosmic rabbit hole, which will be a lesson to be learned, but not necessarily a lesson that we particularly wanted to do at that time. So I think it's really important always to, if we have this awareness of what's going on in our chart, if we can really get a sense of that energy, then it can really help us to make informed choices about how we proceed forward. Because, you're wearing purple and blue today, Parry, and how lovely. And yes, I think there's a lot, probably a lot of you know about color therapy, and color therapy can be very therapeutic in the sense that, if we do wear, there are some days you look at outfits and you think, I can't be doing with that color, not today, I don't feel it. And yet sometimes we can use color in that constructive way, whereas we can say, well, okay, I do feel a bit, flat today and tired, so I'll put a bright color on. So you see me, you're saying you listen to what the forecast is for the week. That's good, and then you keep it. You keep it in the sort of forefront of your mind during the days. Yeah, and I think, so I can say in general that this week is if nothing else, you can follow the energies of the moon and where the moon is moving to. I mean, for instance, today the moon is in, hang on, let me go back to the chart. Today, the moon is in Leo, and it'll move in through Virgo, through Libra, and by the end of the week, it will be in Scorpio. Because we've just had a new moon, but we only get these 2-week gaps between new moons and full moons. Of course, by the 10th of July, we get the full moon in Capricorn. So we have the energies already building up. Yes, that's right, Janice. It impels, not compels. It's Steve Judd, I think, who talks about that a lot. It does, it impels. But at the same time, if we don't take action, often we can't make the most of the energies that are at our fingertips. So it's as if astrology is this wonderful gift we are given at birth by the cosmos, by the divine, that says, and here is your blueprint. You can use this as your own personal map to use you and guide you through every single day of your life. And that's why I think, and I know I'm not alone in this, and there's many astrologers who feel the same way, that astrology should become much more mainstream, and it should be an option to learn about it along with astronomy, maybe solar weather and astrology at school. Maybe not till, senior school, but I really think it would be an important addition to the curriculum, the school curriculum, to have astrology included, because I think a knowledge of astrology, it can certainly help with, say, human resources, for companies choosing which people, which characters, the psychology of the people they employ, and how they make up the members of the employees they have in a team. And there are certain companies that will use astrology for that purpose. As you know, there is also financial astrology. And, if all you've got to do is put it into the search engine on YouTube, say financial astrology, and you'll get a selection of videos up of people, astrologers, who specialize in financial astrology. And, they do incredibly well, these astrologers, and they specialize, like medical astrology. That's another area that astrology can be so useful in, understanding what, why we keep getting problems, say, with our skeletal structure, which would be Saturn transits. So, then forewarned is forearmed, and we can work with it. Let me see what you're saying. Yes, I know. I wish they all had curriculums. Yeah. Oh, what's this? Hummingbirds. They're often seen as messengers, carrying good news and blessings from the spirit world. The ability to hover and move in intricate patterns also connects them to eternity, continuity, and infinity. Do you know, that's beautiful? And I was having a lovely conversation with a client earlier this week, who I actually did a podcast for, and I'll put the link actually in my comments. Her name's Sarah Hawkins, and she's got a YouTube channel called Cauldron of Curiosities. And we were having this discussion this week. This isn't in one of the podcasts, but it was a discussion about insects and about hoverflies. And that hoverflies, these ones that suddenly appear and kind of sit there and look at you, and you have this little kind of conversation with them. You go, hello, Mr. Hoverfly, what are you doing here? And it's kind of looking at you going, well, I'm just wondering who you are and what you're doing in my domain. And then they will suddenly go at such speed that you have no idea where they go. And what my friend Sarah Hawkins was suggesting, not to get muddled up with my friend Sarah Sand-Smith, who I do the channel with, is that they actually are interdimensional beings, which I just loved, that idea of them being interdimensional beings. I like that, Janice. Sometimes people take the scenic route. That's so true, isn't it? And let's see what else you're saying. thought that Mercury in Leo makes this sign impatient with people who don't understand quickly enough, makes them less tolerant in communication. Yes, I should have said that, and you're absolutely right. It will make us all feel a little bit impatient with people. You know, it's like, spit it out, say it. What is it you want to say? So yes, it can make us impatient, Mercury in Leo. Good point. And you know, so this week, as I said, we've got the start of the planets starting to move retrograde. So Neptune will go retrograde on the 4th of July. And then Saturn follows on about a week or 10 days later, I think it is. And so we're going to notice shifts in the energies, because with Gemini coming to the fore, with Uranus moving into Gemini in about a week's time, the energies are just going to shift perceptibly. And I'm going to do that video soon because I need to get it done, because there's so much to say about Uranus moving into Gemini. Lady Anne, good to see you here. Hi. Oh, how beautiful, Parry. I'm just reading what you're saying, that hummingbirds are fearless and very aware of what is going on. Their nests are made with spider webs and hair. Oh my God, that's so beautiful. And it's a little bit like hoverflies, isn't it? They seem to know what's going on. And perhaps also hummingbirds are in some way indicative of, for you personally that had the dream, Uranus's move into Gemini, which is about connecting with those higher frequencies. And Gemini is an air sign. Uranus is an air planet. So there may be some correlation there. Monia, greetings to you. Good to see you here. I love that. The carrot soup put the negotiations to a stop with Canada. Yeah, I saw that. Well, Mercury's going retrograde in July. I'll talk about that on Tuesday in my live. I'm kind of sort of just marking time a bit with this live, because I'm saving it all for Tuesday. So this is not going to be one of my lengthy, long videos tonight. But let me just have a look at this movement with Neptune. So yes, I just want to talk about Venus conjunct Uranus a little bit, because this energy is going to build up. We're already in the energy of this now. You're a bit nervous, Mimini, about Friday, because you're on the 29th degree of Taurus. Is that your sun, Mimini? Oh, I don't see this as a problem at all. I think it'd be rather lovely. Somebody could surprise you with something really lovely. It could be a really nice surprise. I don't see that as a problem yourself. Savings. I just read what you wrote, Beachos. Saving myself for Tuesday. Oh God, no, I know it'll never happen, will it? No, this is true. This is true. Because remember, Mimi, Venus is the planet of love, beauty, pleasure, and value and money, and it's conjunct Uranus, that's the planet of sudden change, innovation, and it can be sudden attractions or unexpected, good, positive emotional connections. So I think it could be really rather exciting. So I wouldn't worry about that one at all. I think that I think it's interesting that it's a public holiday on Friday, because there's so much going on astrologically, with Neptune going retrograde, and Venus, in fact, soon after it's conjunct with Uranus, will move into Gemini. So then it will move in, and it'll within a day or so be conjunct Sedna, because Sedna, remember, is at, I think it's at 1 degree of Gemini, and is going to be there for quite a long time. And Uranus is going to come up and conjunct Sedna. Now, just to remind you, Sedna is the sea goddess, the goddess who was cast out of the canoe by her father because they were in a storm and he thought that they had to get rid of someone, otherwise they would all drown. So he threw her out, but she gripped onto the sides. He chopped off her hands, fingers, wrists, arms, and she had to let go. There's a very interesting energy that is going to be building up with Venus coming up to Sedna, potentially at the end of the week, right? Where we're going to get this energy of awareness of the abuse of the feminine. And I just wonder if there are going to be some kind of demonstrations of some description which are specifically designed to bring to collective awareness the abuse of women's rights or equality and pay. That could certainly be something around with this energy, because Uranus has a rebellious energy. So there could very much be that kind of energy around with Venus. So you're asking about what type of fireworks are we going to see with Venus conjunct Uranus? Well, I think, someone's just said, play the lottery. Yeah, why not? You know, even if it's only $10 you win, better than nothing, isn't it? We get fireworks here. We have a feast day today. It's the feast of St. Peter and St. Paul. So the fireworks, actually, they haven't seemed to have gone off. I'm sure they'll go off later. All tops off, ladies. Yes, burn your bras. Off they come. What's going on about Cilla Black? When a celebrity was Cilla's, yes, it was beautiful. Alfie, yes. What's it all about? When will we be doing forecasts for each sign again? I'm not going to do them for monthlies because it's too much. I don't have the stamina, to be quite honest. I will do them for the full moons and the new moons, and I'm going to do them for Uranus, but I can't do them for the monthlies. It's too much. Sorry, guys. Sorry. But I can't do everything. But let me just see. A hummingbird came to you, turned directly facing you and hovered you. Oh, wow. Well, maybe she did. How beautiful. Cilla came to tell you something, give you a message. How beautiful. So I think that we're just going to see interesting energy on Friday. I think in spite of it being a public holiday in the US, I suspect there will be quite a lot going on news-wise in other parts of the world, and that the administration in the United States may not have much of a holiday. Do we mind? That's what they're there for. They have to work. So they may find they're actually quite busy. Oh, you're asking me if I'm moving back to the UK. I'm planning to, if it's what the divine wants for me. I've done what is necessary to hopefully set the wheels in motion, like put my apartment on the market. But my astrology indicates that something may happen in July, but it may not be till next year that it all fully falls into place. And that's because of the movement of Uranus in and out of Gemini, because remember, it'll retrograde back out of Gemini into Taurus for a few months at the end of the year before it moves fully into Gemini next April 2026. So you spend the 4th of July wetting down the yard, trees and your house, Oh, Wishing Pool Tarot. Hello. You don't want to know when Mercury is retrograde. Don't worry about it. Listen, guys. Mercury retrograde's fine. It's going to be retrograde in Leo. I don't really see this as a problem at all. I think it'll be. It gives us a chance to go back over things. Now actually that's interesting, because what I'm thinking is, for me, with selling my property, it may mean somebody who has already seen my property and not made a decision or gone away and I've not heard from them may turn up again. That could be, for me, a manifestation of Mercury retrograde. Also, because Neptune and Saturn are going to go retrograde and move back into Pisces. And I put my apartment on the market when they were both in Pisces. So I'm just sort of talking the astrology out loud here, because is the conjunction in Aries making many aspects this week? And you mean of Saturn and Neptune? Not just yet. It's coming a little bit later in July. You're asking me to leap ahead to my July notes, and I'm just going to see if I can quickly find when they are going to be as close as we think. Yeah, it's more or less around the last couple of days of July. So really there's another month before we get that Saturn and Neptune together in Aries, although it's not exact, but it will give us a flavor. So the energy is going to be building up as we go through July. But I'm not going to tell you all about July now, but I'll let you know when Mercury goes retrograde. It actually goes retrograde on the 18th of July, and then it must go direct in August. So it goes retrograde on the 18th of July. So there we go. We're not quite in shadow. We're just coming up to shadow time, where it's going to be in what's known as its shadow. So we'll start to notice Mercury slowing down. And I was listening to, let me see, who was it? It was either Pam Gregory or Molly McCord, and they were reminding me in one of their videos that when a planet is retrograde, it actually means literally the planet is a bit nearer to Earth physically. And so that's why on one level it appears to go backwards, because it's much closer. So it actually means that what they were saying is it impacts the energy, so that's why we notice retrograde energy, why we feel it, because it brings out much more the energy of that particular cosmic body. So thank you to Molly McCord or Pam Gregory or both for reminding me of those particular things. So if we come back to what's happening this week, let me see. So listen, let me have a look. What are you saying here? Hello, Shirley. Good to see you. A little bit late, but better late than never. You're Rush and Die Earthling. Can't wait for Uranus to move. It's not been good for you in Taurus. Yes, you're Aquarius. Family issues have been chaotic. Okay, yes. Yeah, Gemini is going to be interesting. I think Uranus will be happy in Gemini. It's an air sign, but it's going to have much more flexibility there. Just to give you a spoiler alert of what we had last time Uranus was in Gemini, we had, I think it was at the beginning of the First World War. Maybe that's not a great example. And I think there was a relevant date because the United States chart is having its Uranus return, because natally they have Uranus in Gemini. And that was when Pearl Harbor happened and they got pulled in to the Second World War. So it's very interesting when we see what is unfolding on the world stage, that these similar situations are abounding in Europe that could potentially lead to greater conflict. We hope not. We hope not. Kiki Law, good to see you here. And Rebecca in Ohio, hello. You can't wait for winter. You hate the heat, Lady Anne. Me too. That's one of the reasons I want to return to the UK. Mind you, the UK is getting hotter and hotter weather nowadays, so it's not going to make much difference to me where I'm living, I don't think. But it's greener. I want green. You've got Mercury in Leo. So, Bijos, are you quite dramatic in the way that you communicate? Because that would perhaps be an expression of Mercury in Leo. And let's see what else is being said. Listen, all we can do is pray for peace. And I think it's so important that we don't, it's about not focusing on the problem, but focusing on the solution. We just have to intend peace. And if we can live in that harmony and timeline of peace in every minute of our day and just make up, just say, I'm on the timeline of peace. I'm where peace is. Peace flows through me and to everything. And then even if we're just one little fraction, one minute cell of the greater whole, it all affects every other spark of energy. No, we can't give in to the neggies, absolutely. Patricia Ann in Scotland, good old Scotland, lovely. Janice, it took you a year to get real estate in order. Yes, I know it's a tricky business, buying and selling. You're dramatic in thinking, trying to tame the words unless some strange thing takes over. I love it. I love it. That's beautiful. And beautiful evening in Scotland. How lovely. 22 degrees. I wish it was 22 degrees in Gozo. It's about 29 and humid. And I mean, I've got the air conditioning on, but it's hot, hot, hot. Listen, guys, I've got a word for the week, because I think the word for the week is really important, because I do feel that adaptability, which is my word, is something we really need to be mindful of this week, and actually for the month of July, because there's a lot of shifts and changes coming, which I'm kind of holding back on till I do my live on Tuesday. And do I think peace and serenity are one in the same? Oh, that's an interesting question. Do I think peace and serenity are one in the same? Well, I guess they are in a sense, aren't they? But, words have vibrations. And I think, we have to think about what the word peace means and what it represents, so that we intend the vibration of the word, and we intend and bring in maybe using the emotion of serenity, that allowing that emotion to come through us to invite peace in. It's been as high as 114 Fahrenheit in Mesquite. Oh my God, Lenny, how horrible. Oh God, that's pretty damn hot. Yes. So listen, adaptability, and then the tarot card of the week. And anyone else that wants to pull a card, and we can compare them. Oh, a little fly just landed on my nose. It's a sign. I wonder what sign it is. I'm not quite sure. Perhaps it's trying to tell me something. So, do you like it? Listen, there used to be a series of stores in the United Kingdom called Past Times and Present Times. And this was supposed to be the copy of an Elizabethan gift pouch. And half the pearls had come off. And I remember when I found it about 30 years ago, I just thought, oh, this will be so beautiful for my tarot. And this is where they live. And so, you're already drawing cards and I haven't done the word for the week. Wishing Pool Tarot, you've pulled the Empress. Okay, let's hold that here in our minds. And let's see me. Wondering if you have a feeling of great exposure to certain leaders in the world that will be catastrophic. I can't shake this like a disturbance in the energies. Yes, I know what you mean, Simi, but do you remember, I think it was you that was worrying about the G7, and actually basically what went on during the G7 happened in well, the Gulf and the Middle East, because that was these bombs that went into the mountains to hopefully stop the nuclear program in Iran. So oh no, Beatrice, she's just drawn the hummingbird card. That is awesome. Oh well, I had a fly land on my nose. You've had a hummingbird, and but coming back to you, Simi, I think we have to be careful that we don't get caught into dramatic thinking. And that's going to be more prevalent with Mercury in Leo. So we do have to be mindful of that. And yes, that's right, Simi. You didn't get a resolution with the carrot soup. And I think that we then had the NATO meetings that took place in The Hague in the Netherlands. I think we just have to stay in the present, because we can affect, we can affect the energy of future timelines. If we keep imagining the worst, we're attracting ourselves to go down the timelines that has the worst. So what we have to do collectively is attract the timeline to us of peace, of harmony, of happiness, and I know it can sound a bit twee, because it's like, well, that's not the reality of life. There is always light and dark. We've always got the negative with the positive. But we have to send out that vibration of peace and allowing human consciousness to elevate itself to a higher level of understanding and sense that it is evolving into a better state of connection with the divine mind. And it's not easy. Stay in love. Yeah, frequency, magical. Yes. And peace and love. Yeah. But at the same time, and this is when I was talking recently about spiritual bypassing, we can't ignore the negative. So we have to know it's there. Okay, it's there. There is a lot of SH1T happening on the planet and all over the place. In a road near you, there will be stuff going on in someone's house that is not okay. We have to hold that. We have to contain it. And we have to just work hard on the vibration of keeping ourselves in that vibration of intent for peace. And if we can do that and not give energy to the negative or the dark, then we can, it's easier to stay in the energy of the light energy. So yes, that's right, Parry. Don't let the devil steal your joy. That's so true. And that's why I've chosen this word for the week, which is adaptability, because we have to survive, we have to adapt. So with everything that is going on the planet at the moment, we have to adapt. Janice, you've got the Six of Swords. Okay, right. So we've had the Empress, we've had a hummingbird, and we've got the Six of Swords. Hummingbird card. Fructification through work, even if we are miniatures in the world. Its symbolic support represents multiple currents operating within our accomplishments. That sounds beautiful. I love it. And so adaptability is being able to navigate our way past the valley of the shadow of death. So we've got this there. We can't pretend it's not there. It is there. We just don't have to pay it homage. We don't have to go and take up residence there. We just have to know it's there and do what we can to give it healing and intend ourselves to stay on the timeline of peace. So Charles Darwin said, and you will know this quote because it's a famous quote, it is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. And that's what we all have to do. The human race, the people carrying the DNA that will survive and become the higher evolved human race will be the ones who are adaptable, not necessarily the most intelligent, the most clever, the most fierce, the most beautiful, the most talented, the ones that adapt. You know what they say, if you are in a, heaven forbid, hostage situation, what you have to do is adapt. The people that survive those situations are the ones that adapt and make a way for it to make it work. And, you know, it's back to the tall reed in the wind. If the tall reed doesn't bend with the wind, it will snap. But if it bends with that force, it can survive. So Lenny Cunningham, Journey Away from Sorrow. Yes, the Wishing Pool Tarot, the Empress is a beautiful card, and it's creation. And it's that lovely feeling of gestation, gestating the ideas. And Lenny, you're referring to yourself as a hummingbird, not because you're multitasking, but you're everywhere. And this reminds me of the hoverfly as well. It's the same, it's the equivalent we have in the UK or here in Maldron Gozo. We don't have hummingbirds here, I'm afraid. They sound so exotic. Oh my goodness, I'd love to see hummingbirds. Wishing Pool Tarot, the embodiment of femininity, using our feminine power of creating and receiving, the perfect balance of manifestation. Well said. Temperance, fabulous, Simi. And actually, I think that's a perfect card for you, Simi, to have temperance, because I think you've got to try and get out of that mindset of, oh my God, something terrible is going to happen. You know, Simi, on some level, something terrible is always happening somewhere. Why do you want to attract it? Why do you want to give it energy? We have to step back from that and stay in the present. We only have the now. We have the present moment and nothing else. And then, oh, we're in the next present moment. So that is what, and you've got the Page of Pentacles, Lady Anne. So this could be connecting with the Venus-Uranus conjunction at the end of the week, where there is fortunate news about finances or money, maybe for all of us. And maybe that is the day to go and buy a lottery ticket. Someone's going to be lucky at the end of the week anyway. Max McGowan said, adaptability is about the powerful difference between adapting to cope and adapting to win. And that's a good point. And there's another one here, which is similar to Charles Darwin by Einstein, which is the measure of intelligence is the ability to change. And that's so true. And that's what Mercury in Leo is not always able to do. So Mercury in Leo will say, but I'm right. I know I'm right. And what Mercury in Leo, what we have to be aware of is, if we have that sense of that rising in us, is to stand back and go, hold on a minute, let me make sure I've got all my evidence. Have I got evidence to prove that I'm right? Or do I actually need to take a few steps back? Yes, Simi, I can understand. It is always a struggle when we're empathic, but try not to get caught into those emotions. Just observe them and let them go. Don't let them move in. Someone has something else. Oh, the King of Wands. Margaret, you've got the King of Wands. Good, strong card. Good, strong card. Nice. People have written whole novels in their head in hostage situations. That's definitely adaptation. Yeah, it's true. It's true. And B. Joss, you always film hummingbirds when they come around. You're South Shore of Montreal. Only saw one for 2 seconds at the beginning. The spring flowers attract them. Oh, how beautiful. How lovely. So there's an unknown quote here, which is, survival requires us to embrace change with open arms and to move with the tide, not against it. And that is about adaptability. And Benjamin Franklin said, change is the only constant in life. One's ability to adapt to those changes will determine your success in life. And that is so true. And Michael McGriffey said, I love this one. Blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be bent out of shape. This reminds me of something from Monty Python's Life of Brian, where, blessed are the meek, blessed, for they shall always be entering the kingdom of heaven. And it's just the blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be bent out of shape. But of course, it's true. And that's what I was saying about the reed. Blessed are the flexible. Mahatma Gandhi said, adaptability is not imitation. It means power of resistance and assimilation. And Kakuzo Okakura said, the art of life is a constant readjustment to our surroundings. And Winston Churchill said, to improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often. And finally, Jessica Hagedorn said, adaptability is the simple secret of survival. And that is what we have to do. And that is the way we survive, by adapting. Unfold your own myth, said Rumi. Yeah, absolutely. Six of Swords, you trust, go forward, not unsent, but hopeful. Yes, absolutely, Janice. Susanna, you're looking forward to Uranus moving out of Taurus. It's been difficult for you. I know it has, honey. I know. And it will be easier with it in Gemini. I think it's that one. That's the one that's, oh my God. Do we want this one? Well, it's the one we've got. But, actually, maybe this is good because survival reminds you of keeping only one's head above water. It's true. It's true. We don't want to just survive, because this is almost like, well, I'm surviving. I might have 10 swords in my back, but I'm surviving. But the thing is, this is the darkest hour before the dawn. And no, we don't have to be. We don't have to dwell on the word survival. I think what we have to dwell on is actually the adaptability of, there are times when it feels like all we can do is put one foot in front of the other. And I'd agree with that, Margaret. At that point, we have to let go. Defeat. Well, maybe that's good. Maybe there is something here about what's going to be happening this week where maybe on a personal level, we all learn to let go a little and get out of our own way and allow the divine to guide us rather than us telling the divine the way to go. Because actually we need to, yes, Jim, surrender. Surrendering is a much better terminology. And we need to, yes, painful endings. We want to live fully. But surrender is not the same as giving up. Surrender is going with that flow. You go with the flow of the water. And exactly, this opens the way, as Len is saying, for new beginnings. Because some people might see that as the sunset on the horizon, but others might see it as the sunrise. I like to think it's the sun rising, because if there's one thing that's pretty certain, the sun goes down and the sun comes up every day. So, it's, oh, I like that. Parry, when I stopped to take a breath, I noticed that I have wings. Isn't that beautiful? Yes, some things have to end, Wishing Pool Tarot. And Margaret, you have to let go of a bookshelf full of books this week. The gal needs space. We've got, I'm sure lots of places have this. We've got this system where we've got certain places you can take all the books and people go in there and they leave some and take some, or just leave some and take one. But it's a great way of recycling books. And yes, wars must end. But is that going to happen anytime soon? I think this is Pluto's move through Aquarius. Pluto is really trying to get us to break down the old, way of doing things. The traditional agendas have got to change. Hi, Emo, good to see you. And we have to adapt. We have to adapt to all of these things. And so I'm going to leave you now, and I've got to go to Malta tomorrow. So I'm off to get the all clear from my consultant about my shoulder. As you can see, it's looking pretty good. You can hardly see the little holes where he went in. It's brilliant, and it feels great. It's doing very well. So, listen, guys, thank you so much for joining me. As usual, I've wittered and probably not done much. This too must end. Yes, thank you. You're very welcome, Lady Anne. And all of you, wonderful soul fam, you're so welcome. And remember, if you do want to have a session with me, go to my website, pennydix.com, email me at penny@pennydix.com, tell me your time zone, and we'll book you in, and we can do your natal chart, transits, questions, whatever it is that you need guidance with. And remember to like, comment, subscribe. And there'll be a few more Astrobites coming out over the next few days. So I've got to get busy recording. So I think Tuesday I'm doing my live. So remember to join me 6 o'clock Central European Daylight Time in the evening. So the same time as this has gone out, I'm going out on Tuesday night live stream. So we will be doing Wishing Pool Tarot. Yes, Sarah and I will be doing a live soon. We've both had quite a lot on our plates, so we've had to just kind of put the channel on the back burner temporarily. But we've got a really good interview we're recording next Saturday with a Maltese guy who is an expert on ufology, so UFOs, UAPs, anything extraterrestrial and alien related. And that is going to be a really interesting interview, and that will be going up on our channel, Channeling and Stranger Things by Penny and Sarah, and that'll go up next Saturday. So watch out for that. So in the meantime, I'm going to say bye for now and see you all very soon. Thanks so much for being here. Love you all. Bye, guys. Bye. Bye.